Hello and welcome back to the 30-day challenge. Welcome back to my channel. I am still dealing with my injury, so today we will work into some shoulder activation. It's something that I've been working on a lot in my own practice. So this is more of a yoga conditioning class than your traditional vinyasa class. But it is really nice to do these yoga conditioning classes every now and then, even though sometimes they can be a little bit more, I don't want to say boring, but it's a different way of moving. And if you're really used to that flowing sort of meditative movement, this isn't that, but it is really important in supporting your practice. And I think it's something that for a really long time I took for granted in my practice because I am naturally stronger. I tend more towards strength poses than flexibility poses. And for that reason, for a really long time, I moved my focus from strength training, and I'm moving back there now. But today we're working on the shoulders, and this is also really great for posture in the upper back as well. So you may have noticed in some of my poses, I definitely noticed it, and it's something I work on. But sometimes when I'm teaching, those those structural things just they get lost in the mix. But if you have a tendency to round in the upper back and shoulders, which I do from working at a computer, this is really great work to help in pulling those shoulders back. We're also working in a way that will help you avoid, or I don't want to say correct, but it can aid in the correction of winged scapula. So if you notice in a plank, it's something that happens to me on my left side. My left shoulder blade tends to open up like this when I'm in a plank position. And that's just due to a weakness in some of these muscles. So we'll work through some of that, but we'll also work on opening up these muscles in the neck and in the front of the shoulder. So you have here your sternocleidomastoid, which is a giant muscle. And for me, I know it's really tight. I also have a tendency to clench my jaw, which doesn't help this at all. So we'll work on releasing into this muscle here, and you can even grab it. It's a big tight muscle on a lot of people. But when this muscle is tight, it also tends to pull our shoulder forward. So a little bit of strength, a little bit of opening, and again, I'm really sorry about the change in format over this week. I'm hoping that by maybe Thursday or Friday, I can start slowly moving back into some more poses. But for now, the physical therapist has told me to really avoid overstretching. And I am going to listen. So I'm just being really careful with my left side. So you may see me adjust some things or do something that's a little bit different from what I'm cueing. Please listen to my cue and a little bit less what I'm doing, just because I am adjusting for my own injury. But with that being said, if you have a resistance band, it will be helpful. Or if you have anything that you can push against. I don't normally use a lot of props like this just because a lot of people don't have them. But if you have a resistance band or anything kind of stretchy that you can pull against, it's really going to help you in this first one. But for now, if you don't have something stretchy, you can also just skip our first strength exercise. But for now, if you can grab like a scarf or a towel or a dog lead, we're just gonna work on opening and warming up the shoulders. So bring the strap or towel into your hand, and you want it a little bit wider than shoulder distance, but how much wider really depends on your flexibility in your shoulder. And you want to be actively pulling against it. So you'll see here that this is me relaxed, and when I pull, there's already kind of a change here. You can see a tension, and this is what we're looking for, just like that slight tension and activation in the top of the shoulder. And then you can inhale, lift the band up and overhead as far back as you can, opening up through the chest, keeping the elbows straight, and then exhale, bring it back down. And inhale, open up, and exhale back down. A couple more times like that, inhaling, lifting and opening up. Exhaling back down. I'm going to adjust it on myself. Try to make sure that that upper rib cage isn't pressing forward too much. So inhaling, tucking in, exhaling back. One more time. Inhale, open and hold back. Pull against this band. Already feeling some opening, some strengthening. And then see if you can press back a little bit further. Still pulling against the band, holding that rib cage in. The core should be really active here. Pressing back a little bit more if you can. Breathing. And slowly release down. Really nice here. So we'll move a little bit more into the neck, and then we'll get into some strength, and then we'll circle back to stretching. So take your right arm, reach it, turn the palm so it faces back behind you, bend the elbow, bring it around to the low back, or if you can grab around to the hip crease, whatever feels good for you. But you can also just let the hand relax at the low back, and then let the left ear fall towards the left shoulder. So already you might feel something here. I know I do, especially on this side. This side's incredibly tight for me. But try to relax the head. And so for me, I don't really need to do much more as far as adding extra resistance or changing the angle. For me right now, this is fine, but if you'd like more resistance, you can take the left hand and add it. It's just extra weight to the head, so we're not pulling the head, we're just resting the hand on the head. I don't need that on this side today, so I'm gonna stay here, but just know that you have that option. And keep actively pulling this right shoulder down. So as we move into this, my shoulder really wants to start to make its way up. Keep rolling it back and down. So in this way, we're really working against that forward shoulder roll. And then normally I tell you to roll your head down toward the floor. Today I'm going to ask you actually to rotate up. And so you'll feel this more in the front of the throat, maybe even here on the chest. Take really deep breaths. I'm fidgeting, I apologize. This is really intense for me. And before you move the head, release the arm. And then you can slowly start to turn the face back towards center and bring the head up. So for me, that's a really big one. Go ahead and take a moment just to roll both shoulders up towards the ears and then down the back a couple of times like this. Got a lot of tension back there. Could probably go for a massage. And we'll move to the other side, so your left hand will reach out. You'll turn the palm to face back behind you, which means your thumb is pointing down. Bend the elbow, bring the hand to the low back. And then you can drop the right ear over towards the left shoulder. And so in these classes, I try to do everything more or less even on each side. But if you know you have an imbalance, if you know one side's tighter, or if you know one side's weaker, you can always stay on that side a little bit longer. I was looking into this the other day just because of my own injury. And they recommend staying about 25% longer. So, for instance, if you do 15 reps on one leg, you can do 20 reps on the weaker leg, and that's a nice thing to know, because we often say if something feels good, you can stay here a little bit longer. And I was thinking about that, because how much longer? Because I have been told, obviously, not to overstretch this one side of my back. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, how long should I stretch the other side? What's the balance? What's the proportion if I want to correct this imbalance? And it seems to be about 25%. But of course, do your own research, talk to your own medical professionals. Again, I'm a yoga teacher. My knowledge is very much focused on this practice. So I'm just sharing what I have found through my own research and in talking, again, to professionals. And then from here, you'll start to turn and look up. So please know that if you have injuries, this practice is very healing, but it is always better to go and speak to somebody. And take some really deep breaths here. You might feel this in your jaw. Or in the muscles right underneath the tongue, depending on how tight you are. And then release the left arm. Start by turning the head forward and then bringing it up to center. That was really intense. Roll the shoulders out a few times, and then we'll make our way onto our back. So again, if you have this band, it's really helpful. If you don't have a band, you can do this exercise using your own resistance, or you can skip forward. I won't be offended if you skip forward. So we're laying down on our backs, and you want to take the strap around at the base of the shoulder blades. So if you're a woman, about right where your bra strap is. If not, just right below the shoulder blades. So you want like right where the tip of the scapula ends. Bring the loop of the strap and one in each hand, and you'll lay down onto your back. You can do this seated, but just because of my injury, I'm trying not to bring any unneeded tension into my low and mid back. I'm trying to keep them as stable as possible here. So you can rest both elbows on the floor and your arms at a 90-degree angle. And then just one arm at a time will punch diagonally, so towards across the body to the left. So I'll just show you, you'll take the right arm, you'll stretch and extend here, and then back. And make sure you're not fully locking the elbow. So there's a couple of things that need to happen here, and I might actually need more space because I have really long arms. You don't want the wrist to sickle, so this is not what we're looking for, straight wrist. So this alone could prevent how far you go. Maybe that's it, and that's okay. There's a lot of strength involved here. And the other thing is you want to keep the muscles activated the whole time. So when you extend completely, have a small bend in that elbow, and when you retract, don't ever let the tension out. So you don't want to come all the way down to the bands like this. You want to keep the muscle activated for all reps. So we'll try to do 20 on this side. If you need to pause, go ahead and pause. Obviously, showing up doesn't mean you have to kill yourself, right? You don't need to be a hero. It's really great that you're here anyway and trying this new exercise with me. So when you're ready, take a deep breath in. Exhale, press. Inhale. Exhale, 2. Inhale. 3. Inhale. 4. Try not to rotate through the body. You can pull the navel in and up, get some added core work. 6. And 7. 8. 9. Woo! And 10. Let's see if we can pick it up for the next one. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and relax. Let's go ahead and burn out the other side. Get this over with. So, stretch. I'm going to bring more slack to this side. And again, make sure the wrist isn't sickling. We'll do 10 slow, and then 10, we'll pick the pace up a little bit. So, deep breath in. Exhale, punch across the body. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Ooh. Exhale. This is my weaker side. 7, 8, 9, 10, and then we'll go faster. Ready? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That was a lot. Go ahead and take the band so it's even in both hands. Press both arms up. Straight wrists, and then roll the shoulders down, pressing the shoulder blades into the floor, pressing the shoulder heads into the floor. And release. Very nice, very nice. That's it with the band. You can make your way up. You can use the band for the next series of exercises if you need to. But we're gonna start very basic, and then as you progress, or if you continue to come back to this class, you can always add the band just as we had it before, but underneath the hands, and we'll be on hands and knees. So here we're working on serratus push-ups, which this is really great, especially if your goal is handstand or arm balances, working into this serratus, which are these muscles that wrap around the rib cage here. Working into this muscle will really, really help you with your practice. It's also great for chaturanga. It's a really helpful muscle to activate in your yoga practice. But it's also helps stabilize the shoulder girdle. So it's going to help keep this shoulder blade laying flat on the back. So we'll come onto hands and knees, but I want to show you what's happening first. You want your downward dog weight bearing hands. So fingers spread wide, wrists in line with the short side of the mat, elbows straight, and arms shoulder width distance apart. And then from here, what we'll be doing is we'll be pressing letting the chest drop and letting the shoulder blades come back, and then pressing into the floor and rounding through the upper back. So basically what we want is for the shoulder blades to contract in and then really spread wide. And so if you watch the downward dog video, or if you've watched some of my other arm balance videos, you know I talk about the shoulder blades spreading quite a lot. This is what we're working. So just to have an idea of what it looks like when we're on hands and knees, the chest drops down just a little. It's a very small movement so that the shoulder blades are squeezing together on the back. And then you press the floor away and you expand that space between the shoulder blades. Without moving the low back, belly's pulled in. So we drop down and then we press back. And so it's a really small movement. You should feel it here. If you're not feeling it here, you're probably bending the elbows or moving into the spine, and that's not really what we want. It should look like if somebody walked into your room that you're barely doing anything, but it will feel like you're doing everything. So when you're ready, come onto hands and knees, fingertips spread wide, and we'll do 10 like this. So drop the chest down, press away and expand. 2, 3, 4, 5, keep breathing, 6, 7, my shoulders are on fire, 8, 9, and 10. Woo. Go ahead and sit back on your heels. Bring your hands to clasp behind you. Pull the clasp away. Roll the shoulders down. Press the chest forward. And we'll do 10 more, either like this on hands and knees, or if you want, you can come into a modified plank, bringing the knees slightly further back. So the knees will be slightly behind the hips here. Belly is still strong. You're keeping the back in one line. Your elbows are pulling back towards the body. Exhale, drop down. Press up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sit back in a child's pose. Bring your hands to touch, elbows onto the mat. Bend the elbows, bring the hands to the nape of the neck. Stretching through the tricep, the armpit here. You might even feel it in your serratus today. And come forward onto hands and knees. We'll move into a stretch. That was it for strength. It's a really short class. Again, I'm sorry for this format, but I didn't want to give up so close to the end of our challenge. Come onto the belly. You'll bend the left elbow, bring it in line with the shoulder, and then the left hand, either at a 90, or I like to open it out a little bit wider. Start to roll over onto that left side. And you can stay here with the legs straight. It might be nice to bend the knees. And I will bring my right foot to the floor. So depending on how tight you are, you might even still feel this in your neck. Try to relax through the rest of the body, through the hips, muscles of the face and jaw. And meet yourself where you are today. So one of the reasons I wanted to continue this challenge of practicing with you, even though it's a little bit different format, is to show you that a yoga practice is always possible. And the wonderful thing about it is that it can change based on what you need. And I think we get caught up in what we call a yoga practice, right? We think it has to look a certain way, but for me, even showing up and doing strength training is a yoga practice. Going for a swim for me is also a yoga practice, because it's more than these postures, right? It's about taking care of yourself and taking care of your body, no matter what it needs. And I was just even finding myself comparing myself to my yoga practice, 15 years ago, where I could bring both soles of my feet and knees pointing straight up to the ceiling in this pose and barely feel anything. And here I am 15 years later, and this is already quite a lot for me. And start to make your way back to center. So our yoga practice should change and evolved based on what we need. So whether that is something more temporary like an injury, or whether it's just getting older, or maybe your lifestyle has changed, you have more of an office job, all of these things are part of your yoga practice. Right arm comes out wide. And I think it's really nice when, as teachers, we can be honest about how it changes, right? Because even as a teacher, my yoga practice isn't something that's static. And my yoga practice isn't always something, I think, that you would find in a traditional yoga studio. Because my yoga practice is very much based on what I need for that day. And as a teacher, it's something I really wanted to be honest about as we move through this 30-day challenge, to be true to where I am with my own practice this week, but to also still show up. Because there's always a way to modify. Or usually a way to modify. I won't say always. Sometimes you do just need to take rest. A couple more really deep breaths here. And come back to center. Slowly press yourself back onto the hands and knees. And come all the way up to seated. Once again, I thank you so much for showing up for yourself today. Thank you again for your flexibility and practicing with me and modifying to suit this unexpected change. But again, this is the practice. This is showing up. So I thank you so much. And I hope to see you on your mats really, really soon. Thank you.